Well, the biggest buzzword in town of late has been semiconductor. But what has led to that and what exactly is the opportunity size? That's something we'll decode for you right here on 18 Hour today. And to do just that, we have, of course, an industry doyen joining us. He's been donning various hats over the course of his career, which spans over 3 decades, right from being an engineer to an entrepreneur, investor, and now, of course, a venture capitalist. Who better than Mr. Sanjay Palsamudram to tell us all of that? Hi, Sanjay. Thanks so much for coming down to 18 Hour studios today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me, and good to meet you, Anisha.
Thanks so much for that. But that exactly is the first question that I keep talking to a lot of people. What exactly has changed in the last, 12 to 18 months that semiconductor has become the hottest topic? Is there some new use case that the industry has suddenly woken up to? What's the context?
Well, broadly, I think there are 3 reasons. One is geopolitical. The second is geoeconomics. And 3, some use cases, like you said. In terms of geopolitical, Japan and South Korea have been having a conflict for the last 4 decades since World War II. Japan produces hydrogen fluoride. They control 70% of the production of it, and South Korea needs that in the supply chain. You have U.S. Trade spat between U.S. and China, and then there is a territorial conflict between China and Taiwan. So Taiwan is using silicon shield to protect itself. So you have all these geopolitical tensions, and it's a matter of national security for countries as well as critical economic interest. So that's driving certain factors to ensure that people are not reliant on other countries. Second, geopolitical, geoeconomic. If you just order a cell phone today, silicon dioxide is taken from United States, it's made into silicon, sent to Japan. They make it polysilicon, they send it to Korea to make it wafers. Then they have to get equipment from Europe. You need engineers from India or US. You need IP from UK. And you put this on a wafer in Taiwan, send it to Malaysia to dice it, and send it back to China to put it on a board before a cell phone ships to you. This is highly, intricately interdependent supply chain. But by doing this, there is a huge specialization and hence cost reduction. If we were to actually put all this in one country, for example, a cell phone, it's estimated that it's almost 65% more expensive. So there is such geopolitical and geoeconomic interdependency. Let's say there was an earthquake in 2011 in Fukushima, and it disrupted the supply chain. COVID was a very good example.
Right.
If you wanted a microwave, it would take a month to get it in the US. So if a microwave is going to take a month sometimes to get it in the US, what happens to missiles, national security related stuff? So everyone wanted self-reliancy and some flexibility in supply chain. That's driving that, and hence US is investing $35 billion in CHIPS Act. India, of course, in December 2021 announced $10 billion.
True.
China, $142 billion. Europe, $47 billion. So every country is trying to get a balance between cost reduction and using the supply chain, at the same time resilience. That's the second reason. The third reason is, of course, the AI revolution, the use cases. AI revolution, you have clean energy driving electric vehicles, etc. AI revolution, whether it's a dystopian doom or an Elysian dawn, jury is out, let's see. But then these are all the factors that have intersected all at once, and that is why you're seeing a lot of action in semiconductors.
Well, hope it's the dawn of a new era when it comes to the AI. But since we have set the context as to what the opportunity is, talk to me about how India can become an important player in the overall global supply chain. Do we have the wherewithal to become a key player here?
Absolutely. I think it's a very unique moment for India. The government has done a fantastic job in Make in India policy. You have Atmanirbhar Bharat and self-reliant India, which means India is aspiring to be a global preferred manufacturing location. That is one.
True.
Okay. Two, there is a huge trade deficit in semiconductors. in 2022, we imported almost $70 billion of electronics, and $16 to $17 billion of it was semiconductors. That was in 2022. It's just increased dramatically right now. If India wants to be self-sufficient, there is an opportunity right now. That will take many years. Even to reduce the trade deficit to a lower number would be helpful.
Correct.
Third, there is this multiplier effect. If you hire, let's say in the US, if you hire one semiconductor engineer, the allied sectors has economic interest and benefit of almost 5.7, which means you take one person in semiconductors, 5.7 people will get jobs in an allied sector. In India, if we happen to invest in semiconductors today because of its electronics usage and self-consumption, it's estimated 16 more people will get a job. So the multiplier effect is there. Okay? And fourth, 1 in 4 VLSI designers are in India. So if we can hone all these things in a certain way with all the other things happening from a politics, from a supply chain resiliency, it's a unique moment for India. And with the Semicon India mission, whatever 76,000 crore was announced in December 2021, it's a unique opportunity and India should seize the moment. And never have I seen in my 30 years so much action in India related to semiconductors with the fabs, OSATs, everything coming along. So it's very exciting.
And thank you for helping the government in the policy making. You have been making very interesting recommendations there as well. But you've piqued my interest when you say that the allied sectors and the multiplier effect is something to watch out for. When you say almost 6x in the US or 16x in India, what are those allied sectors, and overall what else can the government do to provide a further push? They've done enough, but I'm sure there's more that they can achieve and do as well.
Yeah. So in terms of what the government could do, I'm going to answer that first before I go to the multiplier effect. $10 billion in the semiconductor space is fantastic, even though the other countries have investing many more billions, but they already have an install base. India is starting pretty much fresh. So from that standpoint, $10 billion allocation is excellent. Secondly, if you look at the entire ecosystem, you have fabs, you have OSATs, assembly, package and test, you have design companies and you have talent. I think as much as focus has been on OSATs and the fabs, it will be important for the government to relook to see how it can enable more semiconductor product companies can start in India, right? The current DLI scheme, although good, it had an estimate of 100 startups in the next 5 years since the time they implemented to generate 1,500 crores, okay? Today we have only 17, and there are some challenges, and I request the government to actually take a look at it. 50% of the ownership should be Indian citizens, Indian residents.
Okay.
Now, it eliminates foreign venture capitalists to invest in such companies. The reason being, it will no longer be valid for that incentive.
True.
Now, once you take the incentive, if you don't maintain your domestic status, then there is a chance of IPR being co-owned by a nodal agency.
Correct, yeah.
So this creates a conflict, and 15 crores for a startup company in semiconductor space as an incentive is, I think, a little on the smaller side. So if we relook at this and create a more easy way for startup companies to focus on semiconductors, it could propel even more, I feel. Okay. Now, coming to the multiplier effect, you take technicians, right? You don't need advanced engineering degrees. Once you have an OSAT, whether it is board design, board manufacturing, assembly, testing, technicians, etc. Even those families living close by, there are many other sectors they would need help with. So it will all add up, and it's estimated to be almost 16 more people if you were able to hire one semiconductor expert.
And And job creation has been a big focus area of
Yes.
Modi 3.0 in any case. So
That is right.
that kind of converges with respect to the growth that we expect and anticipate in the semiconductor industry and of course the job creation. But the big question I think my viewers would want to know at the moment is how can they play this theme? Now, whether through some of the publicly listed companies or private investments, which areas do you think is something that could perhaps get a re-rating of sorts or that multiply effect even in terms of your wealth?
Absolutely. I think I'm not an expert in public equity. I'll talk about private side.
Sure.
AI and EVs are definitely two very good spaces. But then, in fact, today marks a very special day because to this date, 9 years ago, my first entrepreneur journey was a stupendous success.
Oh, congratulations on that then.
Thank you. Not because of the kind of exit, because it created many more companies subsequently. That is the success I'm talking about. I think the recent product company in semiconductors, what we plan to do, was not a success, but I hope it's not a harbinger of the future. I think with all these changes, more designed product companies in semiconductor space will be good for India. And angels and private investors and institutions are used to more B2C e-commerce investments. If they can have little more understanding of this sector with the ecosystem booming right now and little more risk and patient capital, the returns are going to be very big, and I think people should stay tuned. There are companies talking to camera surveillance, to fans, to refrigerators, to microwaves, to EVs, to advanced AI. There is opportunity everywhere. I think with this entire ecosystem coming, I'm very confident that the investment community will have very good targets in the private space as well.
Yeah, and I think we'll keep leaning into your experience and insights to get better understanding of these kind of businesses, because as you said, B2C is easier to understand because you see stuff around you and you're able to kind of associate with that. But for this, you need a different type of understanding, which you, of course, are helping us to achieve. But thanks so much for your time today, Sanjay. I really appreciate you coming down and speaking with us on this subject.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.